Today we're discussing Burn Bridges, Spread Ashes, which is the second single off of Second Nature, the new album by tsosis. This song was my attempt to write something that you could credibly open up a mosh pit to. There's not a ton of stuff in the tsosis catalog where it's like, okay, now it's time to stage dive, now it's time to crowd kill, now it's time to slam dance. The whole guitar part is centered around these chords which sound and feel like power chords because they're rooted on the E, A, and D strings, but they're a lot more harmonically dense. And then sort of the hinge of the song is this chromatic tension build. And then after all of this chromatic back and forth, this sort of teeter-totter effect, we finally resolve onto E major. Delaying the cadence to the one of the key is kind of like ba 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 ba. It's very similar to this thing the Beatles often do, where they kind of hang out on like the 5 chord before going to 1. It's kind of like a super punk rock version. Through the chorus, it's actually kind of complicated harmony that's happening. There's like some 9 chords and then a lot of like bass movement on the guitar. It was really hard to write second guitars to this because of how chromatic it is and how squirrely the harmony is. It was fun to write this for me because I don't have like particularly large hands, but I got to write a very like big hand riff. There are 3 different genres of harmonic density that I'm really into. The first is Randy Newman style chromatic bass movement. The second is Beatles acid era kind of the 5 chord we touched on, and then just sort of chromaticism within the voice leading of like 3-part harmony. And then the third is anime intro harmony. There's certain chord progressions that I hear and I'm like, that sounds like the intro to an anime. A lot of Japanese soundtrack music is very jazz oriented, and then once you like add some ripping distortion behind it, I don't know, there's a lot of juice there, there's a lot of momentum and drive. That's kind of what I was channeling for the bridge. I feel like a chord progression should really tell a story, and we should be able to track the voices like characters and figure out like, where did that voice go? Where did that voice go? Especially on guitar when you're like doing so much actually harmonically, even just moving from like open chord shapes. We've got this G moving from here to this C here. A bunch of voices just appear out of nowhere when you play that C chord. When you're playing chords across the whole of all of your 6 strings, you don't want characters to just like appear out of nowhere or disappear into nothingness. We want to keep track of things. You know, there's just like a satisfaction to the harmony resolving in a way where like voices didn't have to jump too far. I wrote this song during the pandemic. The first line came to me because I heard my girlfriend laughing in the other room, but I thought she was like sobbing. So immediately I went and I wrote this lyric, "The way you laugh sounds a lot like crying." Wow, like she was just laughing, but I just immediately assumed something terrible had happened because that's the way I had primed my brain. So a lot of the song kind of deals with this doomer impulse that I'd programmed myself to live with. The rest of the song really kind of combats these feelings of dependence on the way that somebody else is feeling. This sense of codependency between yourself and the well-being of people around you, and this absolutely like vicious shedding of that obligation being so about your own self-sufficiency that it becomes potentially a problem. We went from codependency and then we swung so far the other direction that now we're sort of like yelling about it, and then by the end of the song we're crying about it. And I just thought that pendulum swing would be a really fun and interesting thing to explore. Thanks so much. Stay tuned for new singles coming from Second Nature. I'm so excited for this album to drop. It's going to drop in October, I think. That's the word on the street. There's still some pre-order exclusive vinyl left. I fully anticipate that they'll all sell out. More than half of them are gone. Thank you all so much for supporting the record so far. I am so excited for you to hear the last two singles and the full length of the album. There are sonic territories we haven't even begun to explore in these first two singles. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you again soon.